this morning. We are the team of POCL and Chemical Limited, and the whole agenda for today would be a short presentation of 20 minutes, after which we'll open the ground up for the Q&A. Starting with our brief journey of who we are and where we come from. The name Pondy Oxides come in because we had our first ever manufacturing facility in Pondicherry. So the name comes from there. We started off in 1995 by listing us on the Tamil Nadu and the Coimbatore stock exchanges. We started off with litharge, red lead and zinc oxide as a business. Post to which in 2003 we had started off making our own batteries. Fast forward, we backwardly integrated back in 2006 to have our very first lead smelter in Sri Perumbudur with a capacity of 18,000 metric tons per annum. So from 2006 until 2021, we were rapidly expanding our lead capacities. So in 2021, we had our total lead capacity of 1,32,000, out of which in 2019, we were the first ever Indian brand to be listed on the London Metal Exchange. So up till 2021, we had 1,32,000 in our lead smelting capacities, post which we started to diversify in other non-ferrous metal products like plastics, aluminium and copper. Now post 2021, we were running short of our land bank. So in 2023, we went on to acquire Harsha Exito Engineering, which is a glass fiber manufacturing company, through the NCLT route. And from there, we got a land bank of 25 acres with 1 lakh square feet of building already. So that's where our state-of-the-art facility in terms of high-tech advanced technology, fully integrated lead plant is situated today, where the capacity of that particular facility is 72,000 metric tons per annum. Moving forward, we are actively looking into expanding our copper recycling facility in 2026 and from here on. Moving on to where we are actually situated. All along till now we are situated in the southern part of India. So we have essentially 4 units in Tamil Nadu and 2 in Andhra. So we have our aluminium, plastics and lead facilities in Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, we have 1 facility in Sri Perumbudur with 48,000 metric tons per annum capacity. And we have a plastics capacity with 12,000. And our aluminium plastics with 6,000 and aluminium with 12,000 capacity situated in Tamil Nadu. And the TKT, that is the Tevai facility, which we acquired through the NCLT route, that has a capacity of 72,000. So that project was supposed to be in 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2. And we happily announced that phase 2 is live and running as we speak. And moving on to the Andhra Pradesh facility, we have our lead smelting capacity over there at 84,000 metric tons per annum and a copper facility at 6,000. This December, we completed expanding our copper recycling facility to 9,000 tons per annum. And by the end of this quarter, we'll be at 12,000 metric tons per annum for our copper facility in Andhra. Moving on to what we actually do in terms of our product portfolio, right? So we do lead, aluminium, plastics and copper. In lead, there are 2 kinds of products. One is the pure lead and one is the value-added products, that's the lead alloys. So we are also the largest exporters of lead alloys in India, catering to around 150 plus kinds of specialized alloys depending on where the client is situated and in which geography are they situated and what kind of alloys do they want. So each and every alloy that they ask, we can do it. Moving on to the plastic segment. Plastics recycling is more of a byproduct that comes out of the lead recycling that goes into the plastic recycling. So the essential process is whatever plastic waste that we get, we first wash it, we grind it, and then using extrusion processes, we make granules out of it. In terms of copper, at the moment, since we recycle copper, we sort, segregate, grind, and it's ready to be dispatched. Moving on to aluminium, aluminium is the same, where we sort and we grind the material and then we refine it and make it in form of ADC and LM ingots. So, in a brief, what is our business model? Our business model is more like we procure from over 90 plus countries in the world, where we have more than 300 plus suppliers who we have for our scraps. Once it comes to our facility, we sort and segregate which material needs to go to which facility. Accordingly, then it's further processed in terms of if a product needs to be smelted, if a product needs to be recycled, if a product needs to be stripped or refined or grinded. Post that, it goes to the value addition. So there are two segments. One is the value addition and one is the pure product. So wherever we feel that the value addition is more, it goes to the value addition part in terms of alloying, and the other goes out as it is. And the main important part throughout the whole process is the quality check, because from the time the material reaches our facilities till the plant, till the time it's shipped out, each and every stage is being very strictly spec-troed, and the quality is something that we are known for. Now I'll pass on to Mr. Vaidyanathan to take you through the future slides.
Alright, my name is Vaidyanathan, and good morning to all of you. Thank you for coming. The first thing that I would like to take you through is the supply chain, which will involve predominantly about the procurement, sales, and the government regulations. These three are the aspects that I would like to highlight about. And firstly, I will start with procurement. One thing that I wanted to enlighten all of you is in recycling business, the very important aspect is procurement. The rest all comes later, but procurement is the key for this business. If somebody asks me like, what is the key success factor for recycling business, I would say it is procurement. So the better procurement network that you have, that will demonstrate your success. If at all Ponty Oxides is considered to be successful today, after 30 years of consistency in performance and efficiency and the growth what you see today, all is purely because of the very, very strong, great network of procurement that they have built over a period of about say 30 plus years. And it's not easy. It's about relationship with suppliers, the geography, the various products, etc., etc. So a lot of work goes behind. So I would call this also as an entry barrier for anybody who wants to get into this kind of a business. For suppose somebody wants to establish a lead metal business or get into lead alloy refining. The first thing that they have to look at is procurement, and procurement, it's not easy. You have to work very hard and build your network, and which we have done it in the last 30 years. So and always procurement is considered to be a profit center, and it's never a cost center for a company like us or for the recycling industry as such. And if you look at the network of countries that we work with, is about approximately about 90 plus countries is what we are working with, and there are about 300 suppliers with whom we are working consistently. And the one good thing is, like when you work with a scrap supplier in any country, for example, if it's in Africa, Europe or US or Middle East or anywhere, the advantage is most of them, they don't do only one product. They also, other than lead, they also do copper, they also do aluminum, they also do plastic. So you have that advantage of garnering those tonnages once you have a established relationship with the supplier. That's one thing very important here. And to import the scrap, I spoke about the entry barrier. There is one more entry barrier that I will talk about, is the license that is required to import the battery scrap. You need a MOEF CC, that is Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, and also the Pollution Control Board. You need the license from both of them and that is very difficult to get in these days because you have to go through a lot of compliances before you get such a license. So this is another kind of a entry barrier that one can consider, like. And the utilization part of the phase one, I'm sure Mr. Vijay will speak in detail about it, but I would just highlight that like we are in phase one is about 75 to 80% of is what we have the capacity utilization, and in phase two we have a capacity utilization of about, we have just started with phase two, and that's about 20 to 25% is what we are working on now. And so the overall capacity of lead ingot manufacturing by Pondy Oxides is about 204,000 tons per annum. Yeah. And the most of the customers that we have or OEM customers is what we have. And so the sustainability part is very, very important when we procure. Like for example, we work with any country, any supplier, we make sure that they don't engage into any kind of non-complying activity or anything like child labor, etc. We don't encourage all that. So we don't work with such companies, and we strictly avoid those countries or those suppliers. This is something that I would like to highlight here. And we also have a software in procurement, and I mean, of course we have it in all aspects of business, but then mainly in procurement, we have the ability to do a forward planning on procurement, which is about, say for example, this software has a data of about 15 years plus, and it provides a country-wise, I would say continent-wise, country-wise, and the kind of products that they can supply, and how many tons they have done it over a period of time. All this helps us to predict for the next 3 months how do we plan, and who will be able to give that kind of a tonnage. And we also make sure that there is no heavy concentration on any particular continent. For example, we work with say Europe or Latin America or US. We make sure that the concentration per continent doesn't go more than 15 to 20%. Thereby we reduce the risk of because this raw material is the key for our operations, which you all know, and therefore we do this very, very consciously. Yeah. And the concentration of procurement is about 15 to 20% is what I said, and we discipline, and we with utmost discipline we maintain that. And let me now come to procurement and in sales. In sales, we have about 85% of our revenue. Basically, it comes from lead, and 10% from copper, and 5% from plastic and other metals. And we supply to over almost 20 plus countries when it comes to sales. And in India, we do supply to OEMs, and like companies like Amara Raja are one of very good customers of ours. And we only work with OEMs on our supplies. And on copper, we supply to Tier 1 manufacturers, and these Tier 1 manufacturers at the end of the day they supply to the OEMs. And on our concentration of sales, we have almost about 50% is distributed in Southeast Asia, and balance to Europe and Middle East is what we do on sales. And I must tell you here that we are one of the largest supplier of lead alloy ingots in India, and this is something that we are very proud of, because in 2019 is when Pondy Oxide is the first non-ferrous metal company which was registered by the LME, and they gave the first person or first company to receive the certificate from London Metal Exchange on the purity, and we got a certificate from London Metal Exchange. That is a very proud moment for us, and we are the first one to do that. And so therefore that goes to show that how conscious we are about the quality in our products, and that's one main reason that none of our consignments gets rejected anywhere in the world, wherever it goes. And let me also talk about the EPR part. I mean, let me come to the government regulations, which is the third thing that I would like to highlight about. And the government of India is now have introduced one is it all started with the I would call it hazardous waste management rules was the first rule that came into picture. Later on, the battery management, waste management rules came as a second thing. And the third thing that came was like the government came out with the EPR, and the fourth one is the RCM, which is the reverse charge mechanism. These four are the regulations that the government in the last 2 years, I would say, government has been extraordinarily conscious, and they are willing to first time, because of the depleting natural resources in our country or anywhere in the world for that matter, the recycling business has become a very prominent. It's getting prominence. Even there's an association in India, I'm sure you're all aware, called Material Recycling Association of India, and that is based out of Mumbai only, and that covers all the interest of the recyclers here. And there are about more than 3,000 to 4,000 recyclers registered in the association, and this association is now working with the government, steel ministry and other ministries, commerce ministry, to make sure that recycling is declared as a ministry in itself. Thereby, they can go and speak, anything to do with the recycling industry, the difficulties, and they will be able to address it with the government. And at the same time, government is also equally taking interest in the last 2 years by bringing up these mechanisms which I just spoke of, and that is definitely going to help the circular economy. Yeah. Due to want of time, probably I would request Vijay to take over from here.
Very good morning to all of you. Happy New Year to all. So I'll be taking about what is our value proposition and what is the way forward of our company. So what differentiates us? The first one, what differentiates us is the state-of-the-art technology. When I speak about technology, what we speak about is recycling technology, and we are always forward-looking. And the way in which we operate, we involves integrated operations as well as minimal workforce requirement. This is what is today's requirement when it comes to recycling. And the plant what we have in Tiruvai Kandigai is a state-of-the-art plant, and it is typically comparable to Western countries. And this is one kind of plant-led recycling. When you move in, you will not feel like, I don't know how many of you here have visited a lead recycling plant, but in this plant, people who have also visited, it is clean and it is minimal human intervention. Everything is integrated. You can see the lead battery breaking at one end of the plant, and the other end you can see the ingots getting casted. And it is not only for, and we are retrofitting some of the technologies in our old plants as well. When it comes to copper, we also wanted to, when we do a capacity expansion, we also ensure that these principles are followed when it comes to automation and technology. The second value proposition what we have is all our plants, be it in Tamil Nadu or in Andhra Pradesh, or be it whatever when we plan to put in, all have very strategic locations near ports as well as customers. So what does it mean? So for example, from our TKD plant, we will be able to access 3 ports, that is Ennur port, Chennai port as well as Kattipalli port. Since most of our transactions have import and export, proximity to ports give us the logistical advantage. The third thing in terms of technical expertise, as Mr. Vaidhi said, we are India's first non-ferrous metal recyclers to get listed ourselves in London Metal Exchange. When it comes to technical expertise, we have manufactured batteries in the past, and when it comes to product development, especially all the OEMs, so where they also consult us in terms of technical expertise, what type of chemistry will work, how it will work. So that gives us the unique proposition in terms of our involvement with our customers. The fourth thing is in terms of value-added products. We are India's largest exporter of lead alloys, and we wanted to bring the same in copper as well. So if you see, when compared to our peers, our value-added portfolio stands between 60 to 70% when compared to a pure product. The fifth thing is the network. The network with what we have, especially when it comes to procurement, it is about, we import from 90 plus countries, and we have 300 plus suppliers worldwide, which most of the peers, especially when it comes to recycling, a number of recycling, it becomes as an entry barrier. Coming to diversification, all along till 2022, lead was our predominant stuff, but predominant vertical. But from this year onwards, there is a diversification that is going on. We are very bullish on copper, and over a period of time, we wanted to diversify ourselves into lead, copper and other opportunities wherever we get in. Finally, the empanelment. Whenever it comes to customers, we have already got empaneled with most of the battery OEMs across the world. So that is something which becomes an entry barrier for a smaller player. So when it comes to OEM, the advantages, we'll be able to supply them any type of customized product with volumes, at the same time with consistent quality and product delivery. So what is our target? What is our way forward? So if you see in the past till 2022 we are stagnant in terms of 2022 to 2024 is the period. Typically our revenues were muted. That is not because we didn't have demand or something. We were just looking for expansion, looking for land parcels, at the same time infrastructure. Two strategic investments that has been done, as Pratik explained. One is acquisition of Harsha and acquisition of Mundra land. So what is our target going forward? Every year we wanted to maintain a volume growth of 15% across all verticals, and in terms of revenue growth 20% plus with 60% of value-added products and we wanted to have a blended EBITDA margin of 8% plus along with a consistent ROC of 20% plus. So how are we going to achieve this particular milestone is that first we wanted to diversify ourselves into different verticals, bring in more of value-added products, then get into forward integration, the new verticals. By doing this, our volumes as well as the revenues will start increasing. And when it comes to expansion, how are we going to fund it? Through optimum utilization of capital. We are more concentrating on the working capital cycle where we wanted to reduce little. So this will give us a consistent ROE moving forward across all verticals. And when it comes to EBITDA margins blended 8%, including all verticals, we are going to achieve this through value addition, which gives a premium in terms of plain products, cost reduction through operational efficiencies, and the third thing is reduction in fuel and power cost through renewables as well as cleaner fuels. That is how we are going to achieve this milestone, thereby creating a significant value to our stakeholders. So to summarize whatever we have discussed so far, first when it comes to operations, we have 4 recycling verticals. We are recycling about 140,000 metric tons of scrap per annum. We have 500 plus employees working again in all our units. All our units are strategically located closer to ports. And when it comes to technology, we are increasing our capacities with technological upgradation and automation. This is going to be core stuff in our operations. When it comes to supply chains, 20 plus export destinations. We import from 90 plus countries worldwide. We have 300 plus dealership networks and partner networks across worldwide when it comes to procurement. We have all OEM approvals, battery OEM approvals, and we are 100% regulatory compliant when it comes to supply chain. And when it comes to numbers, financial numbers, 15% both revenue and EBITDA CAGR for the last 10 years, and 20% plus ROE and 35% plus ROC for the last 10 years, average I'm speaking. And every year we have been the only company to give, in terms of recycle, to give consistent dividend payouts. And what are the accolades we have got? We are India's first brand to get listed ourselves in London Metal Exchange. We have got A rating from CRISIL. We are QMS, EMS and OSHA certified. 3-star export house by DGFT, and we have the prestigious AEO T3 certification by customs. So to sum it up, so we are, as industry, recycling industry, we are in a very exciting phase today. 10 years back, if you speak about recycling, it was not given much importance, but now that especially Asian economies are developing, especially India is in a growth mode, where the demand for metals, both ferrous and non-ferrous, it is increasing. We are in an exciting phase where government has come to know that unfortunately as India is not rich in mineral resources, it is looking into what is available over the land, that is urban mining. But there are key challenges over there. The first thing is you have informal sector predominantly doing the recycling stuff, and when it comes to compliance, there is no the environmental norms that has been used, and we are short of resources. To curb this, the first thing what government has done right now is across all waste, it has brought in a lot of the rules, that is regulation, waste management rules. For example, for batteries, it is battery waste management. When it comes to plastic, it is plastic. Then oil, whatever the waste we generate, for each and everything, it has put regulation, thereby converting a kind of informal, which is typically right now across one, it is 70%. Over a period of time, it wants to reduce this informal recycling to formal recycling, move informal recyclers to formal recyclers to a higher percentage. At the same time, it has also reduced customs duties in most of the scrap. So this is a big, and when it comes to recycling technology, automation plays a lead role, and we are pioneers in this. What needs 10 years down the line, we have implemented that now itself, and that is a very big, value proposition for us. We are always forward thinking, and we are very bullish about certain verticals, and in years to come, whatever the opportunity comes in terms of the core, our core will be recycling. Whatever the opportunities we get, we will get into it, and we will ensure that stakeholder value creation is being created. Thank you everyone for patient listening, and thank you Go India Advisors for hosting us today. And the floor is open for questions now.
Thank you. Thank you, sirs, for a very detailed, insightful presentation. My name is Navit Arora from Ingrowth Capital. Could you also talk us through your risk management framework, considering that you did mention procurement is a very key aspect, understandably so. So if you could talk us through your risk management framework in terms of taking any calls, in terms of pricing of the commodities, or are you entering into any long-term contracts, etc., which might expose you to any risk? Thank you.
See, all our whatever in terms of procurement, we are back-to-back. We do back-to-back hedging. So irrespective of the volatility in the commodity prices, we don't have a reduction in our margins. So the margins remain consistent, and we have already showcased in our past also, despite be it in the Russia-Ukraine war, everywhere our margins have been consistently maintained.
Thank you. My second question was, you mentioned about the 4 verticals, and you are across various categories. Is there a specific preference for any particular category, or do you think there's equally the opportunities attractive across all the verticals that you have?
So being a predominant vertical, I'm not saying that we will reduce, there is going to be a reduction in our lead demand. It is going to increase as per the the battery recycling, how it happens with existing OEMs, but we are very bullish on copper. Copper is something which we are very bullish upon, and there is already a dire demand for copper, not only in India, across the globe, and you can see that reflecting in our commodity prices. The thing is, in terms of plastics, yes, of course, it's a byproduct for us, but when you take into numbers, it will contribute about 5%. And when it comes to aluminum, we have been doing aluminum, but right now we are kind of a niche product where the bottlenecks or the hindrances or whatever we have faced in the past, we are ensuring that is not there. We wanted pricing transparency, we wanted a clear hedging framework. So we are entering into some niche products where all these are very clear for us when it comes to capital deployment. So, and in future there are opportunities, there are a lot of opportunities that will come. Probably lithium ion is something, or be it e-waste, or be it critical rare earth minerals recycling. Whenever these opportunities come, we are here to participate. And right now our focus, at least in the next 1.5 years, will be on the copper side.
Thank you very much, and all the best to the entire team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Rohan Advan from Pratt Capital. So in your comments you said that Amara Raja is an important customer for you, but Amara Raja and other battery manufacturers also have their own recycling capacities, and they are expanding these capacities. So in what areas do you collaborate with them, or do you compete with them, and once they have their own increased capacities, does it reduce the market available for you? If you could elaborate on that. Thank you.
Sure. So taking this question, right, Amaraja and Excite both have their own facilities now where they smelt their lead. But I don't see a demand reduction because of that in India, or our market share because of that reducing. The reason being, if we take in an example of Excite itself, in the last 3-4 years, despite they running their facility for the last 3 years, the demand has still been intact, because we need to understand that at any given certain point, a certain player is an expert in its own field. So we are experts in lead and lead alloy, and the demand for that is not going to reduce regardless of the battery OEMs having their own manufacturing facilities of the lead alloys. And in terms of the product that we cater to is a mix of pure lead and your lead alloys, where the value added segment comes in. So in terms of alloying, number one, it wouldn't scale their economies that we can provide them. So the alloying, the value added part, of course, yes, there's a sure shot demand for that, and we're catering to that. And in terms of pure lead, also there are some kind of bottlenecks that they face where we are experts at.
See, adding to Pratik's point, the purpose why Amaraja have put their own compliance facilities is for the purpose of complying with EPR. At the same time, they wanted to reduce their import, dependency. So that is one of the major reasons why they have put their recycling capacities. But yes, of course, to some extent, people who are recyclers who are doing a tolling business for them probably there might be a hit in terms of volumes. But as we said, we are experts in lead alloys, so significant amount of volumes whenever there is a growth in Amaraja's business when it comes to lead alloys, we are there to cater for them. So it is not going to affect us.
Understood. And sir, my second question is on your procurement. There is imported raw material as well as there is domestic availability. And how does the economics of both of these work? And I think as domestic availability is improving, would you source more domestically, and what does it do in terms of costs and working capital?
In terms of domestic pricing, it is still not in line with the imports. The reason being, there is still a bigger portion of informal market that's been operating in the market, and that is affecting the level playing field for people like us who are very compliant on all environmental issues and all that. So domestically, even if you look at it, our percentage of procurement, it is still at a lower pace. The reason because with EPR and BWMR and the reverse charge mechanism, which is all coming slowly into effectivity, and once these all comes into, then we believe the informal market will slowly get in line, and they will formally join us over a period of time. I know it will take some time, but then we waited for all 30 years, and there's no point in waiting. I mean, there's no problem in waiting for another 1 or 2 years. So that way the domestic procurement will improve. But to answer your question on as of today, the domestic sourcing is at a higher cost in comparison to the imports. Is what something that I would like to bluntly answer you on that. Yeah.
Adding to Mr. Vaidyanathan, when it comes to domestic procurement, at least the last 2 years the CPR, but the government has announced the regulations, but it will take time to evolve. It is not that immediately government has put everyone is going to but we have to give time for those regulations to evolve. But right now it is evolving. Suppose if you ask me 2 years back the percentage of formal versus informal, now there is a drastic change in the numbers. And for us, when it comes to procurement, we also have, when compared to 3 years where we had been 100% import, now the composition is slowly changing. For example, last year it was around 75 to 80% import, 20% is domestic, and this year also there is a sizable change in that proposition as well. So when it comes to unit economics, yes, of course, as Mr. Vaidyanathan said, the cost is little higher, but at some point of time when all these regulations evolve, and with the taxation, that is indirect taxation evolving through RCM, or be it GST rate reduction when it comes to scrap, the price will have a parity when it comes to import pricing. That is where we'll be able to source more of material. And for us, when it comes to working capital, ours is mostly cash against documents. In terms of working capital, yes, of course, the lead time in terms of the transit is being reduced. That is where the biggest savings happen when it comes to domestic procurement. Otherwise, the price, when it finds a parity, then of course what you said in terms of domestic procurement will be able to achieve a good, great unit economics.
Sir, hi. I have a couple of questions. So one is, once this 204,000 tons capacity, by when do you expect it to sort of get fully utilized? And second is, how does sales work? Is it that do you like you can produce as much as you want and sell it to a trader who sells it on LME, or is it that as you have more capacity, you have to find OEMs for sure, and only then can you sell? So the fundamentally is finding a specific customer a bottleneck to utilizing your capacity, or you can keep adding and kind of just putting it on the traders or LME and kind of get it off your factory. These are the two questions.
So in terms of supplying to traders and OEMs, right? And in terms of also, so one thing that we need to understand is in terms of when we supply to, let's say, or when we cater to traders, it's more on the pure lead side, because alloys can't be commoditized as pure lead. So that's why it comes in where value added, we're focusing more on value added, and we want to keep a 60% plus share of our revenue to value added products, because there are certain premiums attached to those value added products, whereas pure lead is something that anyone can, any and every lead smelter can cater to, because that's a final product. So when you cater to the OEMs, it's more focused on the value added part, whereas all the traders would be interested in pure lead.
Sure. And what about capacity utilization?
So capacity utilization, in the industry norm says 70 to 75% is what you can achieve in your lead smelting business. So by the end of 2027 is when we'll be achieving, we'll be looking to achieve our capacity utilizations at around 70 to 75%.
Sure. So then you would have to sort of expand or announce an expandment to the
Right.
zone, right?
Correct. So as of now, the TKT facility was a new expansion in terms of lead. So we'll first look at this, how it goes on, and we'll stabilize this unit. And of course, as and when we already have a strong hold in south of India. So we'll slowly move and we'll slowly transition towards the western part also of India, where we'll look into expanding the Mundra land with our lead expansions also. So of course, that's being looked at, is what I'm trying to say.
Sure, thank you.
So adding 2 points to what Mr. Pratik has said. So when it comes to capacity expansion, 2,04,000, as we said, right now our capacity is 2,04,000 and phase 2 is already live. By this every year, we are expecting this numbers to increase by 25 to 30% in terms of lead, at least in this year as well as the next year. The second question is, as Pratik said, more of the traders wanted pure lead, but one critical question to ask is where this demand is emanating from. When we say every year, we all speak about lead is going to end and other stuff, but every year if you see all the recyclers, the sales units are increasing, or in terms of volumes it is increasing. So if you see the entire economics, in terms of how lead is being processed and how it is being exported, we cater to most of the Southeast Asian economies, like South Korea, Japan, where they in turn use this lead to manufacture batteries, and these batteries are being exported to Western countries. And apart from that, if you see the ICE population that is internal combustion engine population, if you see across Southeast Asia, is about 50 crore plus. So every year when it comes to the automotive demand, whenever there is an increase about 5 to 10% on year basis, this lead demand also increases, and the transformation when it comes to EV, it will take time. And even when it comes to China, probably you have heard in the news, once the subsidies are reduced, the EV sales are coming. But despite EV taking over as well, the lead acid batteries are required for auxiliary and ignition purposes. That is going to be still there. So on year, we are seeing a demand in terms of lead, and primarily catering to the export nations where these are. And in some cases, in some Southeast Asian economies, for their internal consumption also, the lead is to be imported by them, so they don't have their own domestic enough recycling capacity to do that much of volume. So that is how the entire sales environment in lead works. Yes, sir.
Sir, in your presentation you mentioned that your EBITDA margin is 8%. Is there a concentrated effort and approach to at least get it to a double digit number?
8% what we said was in terms of target 2030 is right now in the lead we are already at 7 to 7.5 plus, and in terms of copper we are still in the recycling phase, we are where we are getting about 3.5 to 4%. So over the period of next years, wherever we are expanding in copper on a phased manner, we will increase this EBITDA margin by 1 and 1.5%. So by end of 2030, our blended overall EBITDA margins will be 8% plus. Of course, we have to see, that is wherever the opportunities are there in terms of other metals where we have higher value. Our focus will be more towards value-added products where that gives an incremental EBITDA margin. But when it comes to copper, it is now it is 5x of lead. In the past we are speaking 4x, now it is 5x of lead. And in terms of absolute value, this will increase. But in terms of 8% plus, this is something where we are working on. But whenever there is any new recycling technology or whatever is evolving, we wanted to adapt those technology and see how much cost we can reduce. But right now, this we have kept as a target. Over the period of time, whenever the technology is evolving and we are able to get the fullest use of such technologies, then of course definitely the margins will start increasing.
Thank you and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I am Meek Masalia from Envil Shares. My first question is, as far as I know, the global lead acid market is at 12 million tons and India is at 1.2 million tons. The global is growing at 2.5 to 3% and India is growing at 6-7% CAGR. So how are we so much confident on growing our volumes by more than 15%? That's my first question.
So as I said, in terms of economies, if you see mostly the lead acid battery, if you see 80 to 90% is fully recycled, and when it comes to its usage, it is predominantly used in the automotive, where 75 to 80% of the lead acid battery is being used and balance is used in other industrial segments. So by major transfer, and in terms of lead acid batteries, it is not only automotive demand and there is always a replacement demand when it comes to PGS. So average life of lead acid battery is about 3 to 4 years. Now when it comes to overall demand in terms of LABs, where the biggest factor in terms of demand happens in the Asian economies, that is where we can see that CAGR increasing. In India, yes, of course it is at 6%, and in Asian economies it's still at within 10% range. But when you see the developed countries now more of moving to EVs as well. So this numbers what you said was about 2.5%. This is despite having EV, we have this LAB is required. The replacement demand as well as the demand what is happening in South Asian economies, there it is going to increase and we will be able to cater whenever the demand is happening. The entire demand is what we have to look is in terms of the automotive sector, and this sector whenever it is growing, we always have demand for LABs moving forward and we will be able to cater to that.
And my second question was, if I look in copper, now in the listed space itself there are many players who are expanding into value-added products like copper bus bars, ATC, copper rods, copper cathodes. So I just wanted to get a perspective that so many players are expanding. So we see any particular overcapacity risk?
So in terms, when we look at the global picture and when we look India as a whole, right now the demand for copper is around 1.7 million tons in India today as we talk in this year. And moving forward to 2030, the demand is expected to grow to around 3 to 3.5 million tons per annum. Now, the demand is so large that, and the recyclers in copper are more of scattered players. So when we look at this, of course, there's a lot more market to capture and there's a lot more demand to be catered. So in terms of, if you ask me, in terms of overcapacity, I wouldn't say that's true because we're still underutilized and we are under capacity when talking about India. And looking at new players coming into this, it's still like a scattered market, like I said, but in terms of formal recyclers, from a recycling perspective, secondary copper still has a lot of scope. The reason being because around the world we can say that copper demand would be moving at around 3 to 4% CAGR, and in India it's said to be moving at 9 to 12%. So there's a big gap to cater to in India, and India being net importers of copper, because India is growing in terms of their infrastructure, in terms of urbanization and moving on with renewables, the demand for copper is always going to be hot in India.
And for your information, the EPR has been set for even for non-ferrous metals like zinc, aluminium, copper as well, wherein a specific percentage of recycled materials year on year has to be used by all the copper OEMs. So that also drives the recycling demand in India.
And my third question was, I wanted to understand more on the smelting part of our process, because if I go through all the past con calls, like FY22 to FY24, the only reason that we were saying that we are not growing is because we are short of our smelting capacities. So I just wanted to understand how important is that process, and just wanted to get a sense on the smelting part, because it acts as a bottleneck in our past growth journey.
Smelting, I would say it is the key for any lead smelter. So, it is like it's like a heart of, lead recycling. More and more you have smelting capacities, the margins will increase. The last 2 years, as we said, this was and at the same time we wanted to expand. So, in the the sales was never a problem for us. We were short of smelting capacities, but by the time we got this land acquired in Harsha Exito, we have put about the smelting capacities we have enhanced great. And today, if you see our refining capacity, smelting capacity, and BBUSU, all the battery breaking capacities are in line. That is why year on year, if you see, our volumes also are increasing, and moving forward also our volumes will increase. So now everything is lined with the work centers. So all the different work centers are in alignment with the capacity what we'll be able to produce.
And sir, our top 3 to 4 customers historically has been approx 70 to 72% of our revenues. So I just wanted to know if you could share who are our top 3s. Is it like Clarios? Is it like Sebang? Is it like GS Yuava? I just wanted to get a sense on that.
Excuse me, sir. Just sorry to interrupt you in between. We'll be limiting the questions to one question per participant since we are running out of time. Thank you.
And it was my last question.
Yeah, please.
So in terms of the customer concentration, right, I wouldn't put it this way that it's 3 to 4 who take up to 70 to 80% of our revenue. I would rather put it in this way that, of course, Southeast Asia is a market that we cater to, but we have more than 3 to 4 customers who take majority share of our revenue. So in that aspect, of course, you have GS Yuasa, you have Sebang, you have Hankook. So there are many more battery manufacturers who we cater to. So it wouldn't be right to say that we only cater to like 3 or 4, which take up to majority of our revenue.
Thank you. That was
Thanks for a detailed presentation. I have a couple of questions. One is obviously 85% of your raw material is imported and 15% of your products are exported. So India basically becomes a processing place for recycling. So is this because of low labor cost, or is it because of a laxity of the pollution control norms? Because otherwise, what is so special that all the material should flow into India and then go out from here?
That's a very good question, I must say that. India, yes, the labor cost is a very big attraction for generally any scrap. For that matter, if you look at in Ahmedabad and Gujarat and all that, there are so many of traders and scrap processing yards. I'm sure you are aware. Plenty of people. Pan India, it's a big activity. India is because of one is the labor cost is one attraction, I would say, and till the last say about 5 to 6 years earlier to that, yes, the pollution control norms were floating. Even today, people are floating. That's what we are talking about, the informal market, right? So even today, people are doing the implementation. Effectivity is not as much as it should be ideally, but then that particular thing that you just said now, will be eradicated within the next 1 or 2 years, because government is extraordinarily strict when it comes to because I've been in the industry for the last 38 years, so I've been watching the transition at every level. And now the pollution control, the Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board, they work in tandem, and they monitor every company which is doing this, and the effectivity of maybe some states may have some lapses, but then that's getting corrected now. So to conclude your answer is like the only attraction is now the labor cost is what I would say.
Great. Such a exciting business. So why is the promoter reduced stake by 10% in the last couple of years? Thank you.
10% reduction?
Yeah, as far as your
Not that much.
Definitely
whatever
not.
the BSE site says,
So the
48% to 38%.
We have issued additional shares.
so because
So
of
the
the bonus,
percentage of shareholding as per the BSE side is 48% couple of years back to 38% now. You said that.
We are very sure, at least in last 30 years, only one time the promoters have sold the shares, and that too in the month of June 2005. Not even a single time there is a sell off by
if you
promoters.
would historically look at that way, right? Promoters have been actually every year picking up some more share, and the dilution that you're talking about, it's not a dilution, but it's because of the QIP that we raised, because of the bonus shares that we issued. That it's a fundamentally financial, the way how the markets work. It's more fundamental in terms of when you issue a bonus share, or when you go for a preferential allotment, or when you go for QIPs. All of that naturally comes down. It's not that we've sold, or the promoters have sold the stake. So I wouldn't put it that way, but
Bonus share does not impact the capital structure. QIP does, but when the QIP is being done, the promoter is ready to reduce the stake by 10% is a question. And if you are making such a profitable company, you could have gone through debt raising. Why do you have
But at that particular time, right, you need to actually have a look at your cost of equity and cost of debt. So when we'd gone for the QIP, the cost of equity was much inexpensive than when you consider the cost of debt, because debt can be an instrument, of course, it's a fabulous instrument, but then there are certain phases and certain cycles of the business where you feel that your debt is more costlier than your equity, so you might as well go for equity at that particular point of time.
all the best?
Thank you so much.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
This is Sagar from Spark Private Wealth. My first question was related to our value-added products. Actually, you have guided that VAP portion will increase from 56 to 70%, and I believe our H1 was pretty strong because of this factor. But I wanted to understand, and that's why our EBITDA margins flew to almost 8.4% for this quarter. So my question was that I wanted to understand the application of lead value-added products versus the pure lead. So what is leading to this demand of this value-added products? For that actually our EBITDA margins have been going up, and what can lead to the sustainability? That is my first question.
See, when it comes to value-added products, unlike all other products, lead-acid batteries also evolve when it comes to in terms of where we can what is the bottleneck, or what is the constraint for lead-acid battery when it comes to charge or longer life cycles, or when it comes to maintenance. So each and every aspect, each battery OEMs also are developing technologies where we can increase the life cycle of lead-acid batteries, or where we wanted to increase the charging time or being maintenance free. So when battery OEMs work with the product development cycle or R&D, they look into each and every chemistry, how it works. When I increase this particular metal component, how it is going to increase the durability, or be it the charging cycle time. So each and every type of product development, and we have already manufactured batteries in the past. Now when it comes to product development, they discuss with us what needs to be done, what is your suggestion, and they give us a prototype. Thus prototype has gets into a lab scale checking. Once that is being proved, there are a sizable amount of orders flows to us, because we have been delivering dead alloys in a very consistent manner, and each and every production cycle, in the first phase, in the middle phase, at the end phase, the entire product is vetted for the consistency of that metal composition, and this metal composition in terms of alloying differs in each and every region. So it is a very rigorous process when it comes to technicalities, And this is where POCL comes in by giving them a consistent and a batch where when they put it, there's no batch failure. So to that extent, we are providing. And recently, we have added 2 or 3 new, the product portfolios in lead, and that is what is contributing our margin right now.
Okay, so apart from batteries, is there any other application, sir, that is the driver behind these value-added products demand?
So the application, as I said, mostly into automotive, and there are a lot of other applications, like industrial. So what is in terms of renewables? Yes, the holding capacity is required. So to that extent, there is a change in composition in terms of batteries. Those are all happening, and it will keep on evolving. So it is not going to stay like this. So when there is a competitor where when it comes to EV, they speak about density, charging density, longer life cycle. So for lead acid manufacture, this becomes a challenge. So to that extent, of course, when you cannot equate that in a different metal, but at least to some extent in a cost-effective manner, how we'll be able to cater to customers is their viewpoint and how to do that. So that is what is happening right now.
Okay, and my second question, sir, was related to the diversification path. On copper and aluminum. On copper, on the forward integration part, you are very bullish on that metal also along with lead. So, how is the progress on the copper forward integration? You have, if I believe you have placed capacities also regarding that, and what is the progress? And second, on the aluminum, on the MCX. Your nearest competitor has actually guided that ADC12 is soon going to be registered on MCX. So after that, there is a chance that OEMs might recognize that metal also for its own product. So any updates on that, sir?
So, talking about the copper part, right, like I mentioned in the presentation, as of now, we have a 9,000 tons capacity in terms of recycling. 6,000 was earlier, and by December we completed our expansion of the additional 3,000. And by this quarter end, we'll be at 12,000 in terms of recycling capacity. Moving forward, we of course looking to forward integrate and get into the value added segment of this copper product portfolio of ours. We'll be adding close to 18,000 tons per annum capacity for the next value added product, which should technically commence. The work has been started in terms of surveying the land and then getting the land and building ready for the upcoming plant. And we can see the production starting anywhere by the next financial year end quarter.
When it comes to aluminium, we have to see how this is going to work in terms of ADCs. But right now we are moving into a very niche product where all the hindrances, whatever we have faced in the past, we just wanted to concentrate on few customers, few products, and which gives us a premium margin. So that is where we are looking at. But when you ask me how much this will be in the overall revenue vertical, it will be less than 5%, not more than that. So we are more bullish on copper. So in the years to come, if you see the entire vertical composition, lead will be in the range of 45 to 50%. Copper should be in the range of about 40 to 45. For balance, 5% will be in terms of plastics and aluminum.
We are planning to start recycling of lithium-ion batteries in 2027, and you have also acquired a company which is currently doing R&D, and of which you have mentioned in your conference call. So can you update what is the progress, and are you on track for 2027 for lithium-ion recycling?
Yeah. Ace Green Recycling is the company that you're talking about, where we have invested about $500,000, and they are into R&D of lithium. And we have done that we see a lot of value proposition in the company, and we see over a period of time lithium will definitely have an impact in the market, and they are working very hard on the technology that they would like to bring it up in the market. So we thought we'll join hands with them, so that's what we have done. But on the Indian context of lithium, the chemistry of lithium keeps changing quite often. It's still an evolving subject is what I would say. It all started with NMC, again then it went to LFP technology, and now it's at LFMP technology. So every now and then it keeps changing, and the electric vehicles in India is just growing now. It's not what we thought as great as it we all thought it would be. So having said all this, the feedstock of lithium, we don't expect to come in place, before 2028. Before that, we are not seeing like there won't be like as I said in my earlier presentation, that procurement is the key for any particular recycling activity. So अगर आपको lithium करना है तो पहले माल की तो बंदोबस्त करो. तो माल मेरे को नहीं लग रहा है कि before 2028 you will have the proper flow of feedstock. By the time we thought we will consolidate copper and then look into any future possibilities of getting into lithium. As such, it's on the cards, but not really. Yeah.
When it comes to lithium recycling, predominantly it is pyrometallurgy or the hydrometallurgy is something what people are speaking about. But there is the recent article whatever I have read, just for information, by using electric and air itself, the separation can happen with 90 to 95% recoverability. So the technology is still evolving. So it is, I would say, for the vast, Mr. Vaidhi said, feedstock is the first challenge. In terms of technology, it has to evolve, and what is the cost-effective technology without harming the environment, because all are toxic metals when it comes to lithium, nickel, cobalt, everything, whatever you take. Instead of using acids that gets polluted in water, any recent technology what I speak right now without any harmless. So when you adapt that technology, you'll be the pioneer in that once again. So technology is still evolving in terms of recycle, whereas lead or be it copper, right from lead is there for last 300 to 400 years, at least the last 100 years the technology is stable. Any battery you give, this is the maximum amount of that is lead that can be recovered. And in that also, instead of using the pyrolysis oil or the oil which creates pollution, we are just moving way forward, wherein we are using cleaner fuels, or be it when it comes to power, we are using renewables. So those are the transitions that will happen. The same thing for lithium. Lithium is still evolving stage, and it will take a lot of time for feedstock to generate. At the same time, in terms of technology, how it is going to evolve and what is the best recycling technology to recover the metals, it will take little time. Until then, yes, of course, why we have invested in ACE Green is to know what is happening in the lithium-ion market, what is the technology that is evolving. It's a kind of insights what we get from them. So we want to just get updated. But right now, at least in the next 1 or 1.5 years, we'll be fully focusing on copper. By the time once copper is stabilized, then we will look into other areas where we can get into recycling.
Thank you, sir, and thanks to all the participants as well. Since we are running out of time, we cannot take any further questions, but you can reach out to the account managers or on our email IDs if you wish to have any meeting arranged with the management. This is how we can wrap the session. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, we would like to thank all of you for your time and patiently hearing us, and sincere thanks from all of us from Pondy Oxides and Chemicals.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Also, we'll be starting our next session right away. So, request the participants to please be seated. And thank you, sir.